Guys, we're going to go through a quick fix on this washer here. If you have a washer, it looks like this, and here's what happened. I got this one and the customer said this was dead, wouldn't come on at all. Now sometimes what can happen, and this is the case here, you unplug it for quite a while, and what happens is all the capacitors and all that stuff in the board, they go dead. So it's been unplugged for 20 minutes or so. In this case, the guy has had it sitting in his garage for like a month. I plugged it in, and when I plugged it in, a visible spark came off here. Now, what typically happens is that'll happen, and you won't get anything off your board. However, sometimes your board will go ahead and come back to life, like this one, and everything works. But what I'm going to address is why does that happen? Because, maybe the next time you go to turn it on, it won't turn on, or you go to plug it in, and, that fries the board. So what's happening is we have either a corrosion issue on the board or a grounding issue. And so what I'm going to look for, we're going to open this up. What I'm going to look for is a loose ground, maybe a ground wire on some painted metal and not actually making a ground contact. Or what's probably the issue is corrosion on an exposed part of the board on the back end here. So what happens is you're washing your clothes and the steam rises up and it moves through the holes in the frame that come and hit the backside of this board, and any exposed part can then get corroded. This happens on several machines like this, but what we're going to do now is I'm going to grab my drill and we're going to take out this screw, so then this comes off, and then this screw right here. Once I take those off, it's going to allow me to slide this forward, up, and then we'll lift it up. And that's going to give us access to the springs that hold this on. So I'm going to put this on a tripod, and we're going to do that real quick. So let's have a look-see. You kind of saw how I did that. First thing, let's check. Let's make sure our grounds haven't pulled, like the wire hasn't broke or pulled off. We're good there. All of this looks good. We got a ground. Make sure it comes up over here. Nothing's pulled apart. Nothing's broken. Okay. Be real careful touching anything on the board. I will hold the power button down for about 20 seconds, even after I unplug it, to try to kill these capacitors. But you don't want to go sticking your hands in here immediately after unplugging it. There's still juice in here that can zap you, and it's enough to do some damage too. So if you don't know what you're doing, don't go touching around on all that stuff. But here's the problem. So that all looks good. Here's the issue right here. I've got a good zoom on this, but check this out. Zoom will focus. See all that nastiness there? That's the issue that we're having with this board. And we'll take this speaker off. Let me zoom out. We're going to take these two screws out and pull this speaker off. It's going to expose more of the board, and I'll bet you that we find some more corrosion. Let me do that right now. A couple of little 3/16 screws to get that off. Move the speaker out of the way. Check it out. We wouldn't have seen it before, but that's a problem. Okay, that's what's causing the issue. If I get my phone here to focus, that's all disgusting, but especially that right there. So you would have cleaned all the other stuff. you still would have had issues because of that right there. So I can't really tell beyond that if there's even more, but this side over here looks okay. I'm gonna hit all of it, but especially this right here. Typically if it's covered, then it's okay. But this was not covered. The speaker was, the bottom of the speaker is all the way up here, so this was wide open, and that moisture and condensation can get up in here. So let me show you some tools for cleaning that. All we're gonna need to fix this up, and by the way, shout out to a commenter who actually pointed out in a comment, hey, take the speaker off and you'll find more things corroded under there. That's it was when I read that comment, I was like, no way, and checked, and yeah, this whole little gap here was there, and I didn't even know it because I had never taken the speaker off before. So I read through those comments, all the comments, and I try to respond to everyone, or at least like and heart the comments. But I read them all, and I pick up just as much information as you guys pick up from these videos. So thanks for the comments. I appreciate that. And so here's what we're going to use. We've got the rubbing alcohol, Q-tips. Now this is going to be more than just a swab job here. We're actually going to have to get in here with our file, and you can pick these up at any hardware store. I think I got these at either Harbor Freight or Westlake's Ace Hardware. So once we're done with this, we'll go over it with the Q-tip, with the rubbing alcohol, and then to make sure this doesn't happen again, because as you do your laundry, more of that steam's gonna come up through all these little holes here and hit this again. You don't want to be doing this again in 3 to 6 months. We're gonna coat it with some clear nail polish, and I like the gel. That way it doesn't run all over the place. It stays where I stick it. We're gonna coat all those exposed areas once we get it all cleaned up. And so to clean it up, here's what we're talking about. We're just talking about taking this little file, talking about going in here carefully and scraping this off and just shining it back up. Okay, you could hit it with the alcohol first, then hit it with this, and then go back over with the alcohol. I typically just run this over everything and then hit it with the alcohol, and I'm done. So I'm gonna go through and get everything I can get with this, then we'll hit it with the Q-tips, and we'll come back and take a look. So just take note of how green and how nasty that is. Same there. And you know, that's not too bad, but we'll probably just alcohol swab that. And we're gonna alcohol swab this too. All right, we've done the cleaning, the swabbing. Take a look at the difference here. We'll come over here to the side. And what you can do is you can take screenshots of what it looked like before, compare it to now. And those I got as clean as I could and then swabbed them real good. Let's zoom out. Let's come over here. Take a look at that too. So I got all the gunk and the grime off of that. Same thing up here. I didn't have to file anything up there. I just swabbed it real good. And next step is we're going to take nail polish and just kind of, not overdo it, but just kind of swab all this stuff here. Let it dry for a few minutes and then start putting it back together. Okay, so we got the speaker put back in. Now before I move on from this step, if you still have issues beyond this point, your next step in this process would be to take these screws out, all of these screws, and drop the faceplate off and try to see if there's more parts to this board that are exposed. I've never had to do anything beyond this. As a matter of fact, I've done like probably 15 of these, and I didn't just until recently start doing this, moving the speaker and checking under there. So even without doing the speaker, I was getting them to come back up and run without issue. But obviously checking under the speaker is an even bigger benefit because some people were still having issues and figured that part out. But I imagine there's probably more to the board. I just typically don't tear things down even further if I don't have to, especially when it comes to electronics. So with that in mind, I've been able to fix everything. And some of the other versions of this washer, the speaker is way over here and nothing's exposed around it. So good thing to check under the speaker. If you have the speaker, normally it's only about that much of the board sticking out, and you file, swab, and coat, and you're good to go. So anyway, for just a moment here, because I'm going to keep it apart, so when I deep clean everything, I don't have to take it all back apart. But all we're going to do now is plug it in, just make sure that everything's rocking and rolling. Hopefully we don't get a huge spark. Boom. That was about... Okay, so I plugged that in and heard maybe just the slightest of noises. That's normal. But a great big, what I call a popcorn spark, I don't know why I call it that, but just a bam, that's not supposed to happen. And so we're good to go. That was perfect. Let's make sure it turns on. Turns on like it's supposed to. All of our buttons here. Working. Responding. And then if you kind of smell the nail polish smell, that'll go away. Boom. Every single button here works. Of course, once I get the water and all that hooked up, we'll run 4 loads through it. I always do 4 loads, deep clean. I'll go as far as to take the tubs out if I have to deep clean. But otherwise, the electrical part is fixed. Good to go. So hopefully this video helps somebody out. Hopefully you can follow those steps and save yourself $500 if you call somebody to come out. I charge $90 just to set through the door. And then because, working for a repair company, you have to use OEM parts. The board's probably, $380, $400, as high up to $500, and you got to pay labor and all that to put it in. A lot of people don't have that kind of money just laying around and laundry piles up fast. So the point of this video is just to keep it going as long as possible. Hopefully this tip will get you back up and running instantly for free. You're just out a little bit of time, a little bit of nail polish, and good to go. So again, I hope this helps somebody out. If it did, please like, subscribe, and share. That way other people can find this video and fix their stuff for free. And we're all kind of helping each other out. So thanks again, guys. Y'all have a great day.